What up, what up, what up, what up? Ladies and gentlemen, it's the one, it's the only, it's the motherfucking general coming back at you live with a recap of week 15 of the NFL season. Ladies and gentlemen, the general had a great weekend. I'm feeling much better now. I was sick all last week, felt like shit. It was dog shit, garbage, fucking caca, basura. The general was feeling down and out. Man, I was getting my shit rocked last week. I don't know what the fuck was wrong with me. Fucking felt like pneumonia or some shit, or I don't know, something, man. My back went out, my back was hurting. I was fucking, just feeling down. My head was hurting. Felt like I was coughing nonstop for days. I don't know what the fuck is going on out there, man. There's some fucking new COVID disease or something out there. I don't know what to call it, but that shit fucking rocked me. But anyways, the general's feeling better now. The general is back at it. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to give you guys a recap of all of our plays, all of our bets for week 15 of the NFL season, starting with the Thursday night game, the Chargers at the Raiders. Ladies and gentlemen, what I say about that game, I said I think the Raiders are going to win that game. I said I can't wait for Stanley to get fired. And I told you guys since the season started that I said, fuck that bitch ass motherfucker. Fuck that bitch ass head coach. I can't wait for his bitch ass to get fired. And that bitch should have been fired a long ass time ago. So it looks like Stanley finally lost his job, lost his job, got fired on his day off. And you know what? Good riddance. Fuck that motherfucker. He should have never been the coach of the LA Chargers. Are you fucking kidding me? What has he done? What does he deserve? Look at his record. Look at a resume. He a fucking nobody. He a scrub. He a mark ass bitch in my opinion. I can't believe they gave him the job to get started with. Fuck that puto ass motherfucker. Can't stand that fucking bitch ass face, man. Always sitting there at the fucking press conference with a bitch ass attitude. I know what I'm doing. I'm a good head coach. The guys listen to me. I'm a leader. I have what it takes. I know what to do. Shut the fuck up. That's why you got fired on your day off like a punk ass bitch. So I'm happy. I'm celebrating. As soon as I saw the news, I was like, ooh, finally, Jesus. He listened to me. I said, man, fuck that dude. He's holding Justin Herbert back. Honestly, like, I agree with Stephen A. Smith. He was saying this on First Take like weeks ago, if not months ago. And he said that Sean Payton never really wanted the Denver Broncos job, that Sean Payton was living in LA and he was waiting to, find a job that he liked. And the only two jobs that Sean Payton wanted to take was potentially the one for the Dallas Cowboys, because a lot of people were wondering if McCarthy was going to get fired or not. Because I think he's a fucking garbage ass, trash ass head coach too. That fat fuck doesn't know what he's doing either. I'm not saying Dak Prescott's being held back. I'm not saying he's the truth. But I am saying sometimes it feels like he misses Kellen Moore, because Kellen Moore was able to get that offense, rocking and going last season. And ever since Kellen Moore left, that offense sometimes it just looks like fucking trash, especially when they face good competition like the San Francisco 49ers or the Philadelphia Eagles, or in this case when they have to go on the road and play Buffalo. Sometimes their offense just isn't clicking on the road, and a lot of people are, trying to blame Dak Prescott. Some people are trying to blame the offensive line and their injuries. Other people are looking for McCarthy's fat head. And me, I look at Kellen Moore and I said, this might be a situation where Kellen Moore actually missed these days. And, I think he wishes he had been the head coach instead of McCarthy's fat ass. But I don't think he's a good head coach either. I think he should be fired, and I think it's only a matter of time, because I don't think the Dallas Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl anytime soon, because they can't win on the road. They can't even win their own fucking division, apparently. Dak Prescott, every time he plays high-level competition, he also looks like a mark-ass bitch. The offensive line is dealing with injuries. They lost Trayvon Diggs for the season, and I feel like Micah Parsons cares more about his podcast than he does about winning, especially since he knows he's going to get that big fucking $100 million deal. He wants that Nick Bosa money. He wants that Khalil Mack money. He wants that fucking TJ Watt, JJ Watt kind of money, right? And I think Michael Parsons is going to get it. Michael Parsons is going to be one of the highest paid players in NFL history. Not just defensive players. He's going to be one of the highest paid players in NFL history overall. And so once he gets that money, and Dak Prescott's getting his money, and the offensive line and the defensive line want to get their money, Dak Prescott's probably not going to have a lot of people, and he's not going to have a lot of weapons to throw the football to. So I think in the coming years, this Cowboys team is going to suck. And Trayvon Diggs got his money, even though he's out for the season. I mean, damn, there's just not enough money. So you're going to start to see a lot of people leaving the Dallas Cowboys in free agency once Michael Parsons gets paid, and Dak Prescott's getting paid, and Trayvon Diggs is getting paid, and the offensive line is getting paid. There's just not enough money to go around for the rest of those players on the team. And so what's going to happen in the coming years is I think they're going to fall apart, and I don't think they're really going to be able to accomplish nothing. So I think this is Dak Prescott's probably, honestly, his last chance to win a championship ring. And with no Trayvon Diggs on defense and the offense looking like ass when they're on the road, and every time they play a good team like the Eagles or the 49ers, they look like fucking trash and garbage. Can't even beat the fucking Buffalo Bills on the road. You got to be kidding me. Yeah. I think they got exposed. I think they highlighted and showed the world that Dak Prescott's really not that dude. He's never been that dude, in my opinion. I don't think he's a top 5 quarterback. I never liked him. I never fucked with him. I never rocked with him. I never believed him. And I think he's fucking ass. I don't think he's worth the money. He's out here talking about, I remember Dak Prescott in his prime, when he first got there and he replaced Tony Romo and everyone was trying to hop on his dick and suck his dick and shit. And I was like, I get it. He looks good, right? But, what happens once he starts getting paid all that money? Well, guess what? He never won a Super Bowl during his rookie contract. Then he ended up getting the money, the max money. They were trying to give him that Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers money. Guess what? They did it. Now Dak Prescott's a top 5 player in NFL history, top 5 paid player in NFL history, excuse me. And he's one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league right now. Does he act like it? Does he perform like it? Does he show out like it? Does he ball out like that? No. So he didn't accomplish shit when he was on his rookie contract, and now that he's on a mega contract, he's still not accomplishing shit. So to me, this is probably his last fucking, good chance. But like I said, Trayvon Diggs with that injury, Zach Martin went down with an injury. The offensive weapons are trash in my opinion. I don't think what's his name, CeeDee Lamb. I don't think he's elite. I think he's good, but I'm not putting him in the same category as Justin Jefferson or fucking DJ Metcalf, or you know what I mean. I don't put him in the same league as Deebo Samuels. Get the fuck out of here. So yeah, that's disrespectful. So yeah, CeeDee Lamb, he's good, he's cool, he's alright, but he's not elite. He's not over here like Mike Evans and shit, or you know what I mean, like one of those big name receivers, Stephon Diggs, like, he's not fucking Odell Beckham in his prime just yakking it on bitches, Randy Mossing these hoes. He's not that kind of caliber guy. He's cool, he's good, he's alright, but CeeDee Lamb, he's not fucking elite, not in my opinion. So to me, I think in free agency in the coming years, once Michael Parsons gets his big ass, fat ass contract, and, Trayvon Diggs is the highest paid corner in NFL history now, and Zach Martin wants a new deal, and Dak Prescott's making that Aaron Rodgers money. I mean, damn, bro, there's just not enough money to go around. So people are going to be forced to leave in free agency and go play elsewhere, go get their fucking bag. And the Dallas Cowboys are going to continue to lose talent in the coming years. So I think this is his last opportunity to win a Super Bowl, and I don't think he's going to get it done because I don't think he's elite. I don't think he's the truth. I don't think he's a legendary quarterback. I don't think he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. I think he's average. I think he's mediocre. I think he's all right, but I don't think he's worth that Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow kind of money. I don't think he's on that level, not to me. So with that being said, it is what it is. But I think eventually McCarthy's going to get fired because I think he's a dumbass as a head coach. So I've been saying for a long time that Stanley needed to get fired. I think next up should be McCarthy, but it probably won't be. It'll probably be, Ron Rivera or somebody, because that's just how the NFL works. So anyways, going back to the Chargers, bitch ass. Yeah, I think Justin Herbert is a good quarterback. And I wish Sean Payton had been able to be his coach this year. I think Sean Payton would love to be the coach there, in LA. But I don't think he's going to get the opportunity. I think he's stuck with the Denver Broncos now. And so the Vegas odds are saying that the favorite to get the head coaching position in LA is probably going to be Bill Belichick. And that the Chargers are probably going to look to hire Bill Belichick, from New England, because supposedly New England's going to, fire him or let him go and mutually part ways in the offseason. And if that happens, Bill Belichick is probably going to take his talents to LA, just like LeBron left to South Beach. We'll see. I don't know if Bill Belichick is going to be good in LA. LA is a completely different culture than New England, completely different vibe, completely different attitude, completely different culture, completely different city, completely different state, completely different players, completely different locker room, completely different owner and GM, completely different mentality. I don't know if Bill Belichick is gonna succeed in LA or not. He has the roster, he has the players, but Bill Belichick, it's not just about the talent, it's also about the culture and the mentality. It's all about the discipline and the commitment, something that he's able to establish and create in New England, and it'll be years before he creates it in LA. I think it's hard to bring that Boston mentality to Los Angeles. I don't think it's gonna work. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe he gets a job, maybe he doesn't. Maybe the Patriots don't fire him. Maybe they give him another offseason. Because I think the Patriots are scheduled to get the number 2 pick in the draft. He might end up getting, a Drake Meyer or a Bo Nix or, somebody. You get the second pick in the draft. You basically get the second best quarterback in the country because everyone knows Caleb Williams is going number 1. The question is who's going number 2. Right now, Drake May looks like he's going to be the number 2 overall pick. Who knows? I think he probably fits the Bill Belichick Patriot way, but we'll see. He's going to get the second best quarterback in the country. If I were the Patriots, I would give him one more shot at this. I would cut Mac Jones' dumbass. I would trade fucking Zappy. I would basically get rid of half that locker room on offense, and I would bring in that second best quarterback in the country and get him some new wide receivers fresh out of college, and I would look to rebuild the whole thing over again. I would give Bill Belichick one more fucking bite at the apple because, again, if you're going to give him the number 2 pick in the overall draft, you're giving him the second best quarterback in the country. I would love to see Bill Belichick with a quarterback other than Mac Jones, but that's just me. So anyways, yeah, we'll see what happens with the Chargers, but they lost, so we won money on that. We took the fucking Raiders. Fuck the Chargers, fuck Stanley, and, fuck that, coaching staff. They do have a good roster, though. Justin Herbert, he's out for the season with that thumb injury. But they got players, man. They got Bosa, Joey Bosa. They got Khalil Mack. They got some good wide receivers, some good tight ends, a good defense, and a decent offensive line. You got Justin Herbert in his prime. There's a lot of pieces there. You just have to have a good coach. Again, I think Sean Payton wishes he had not taken that Denver Broncos job, and I think Sean Payton wishes he had stayed in Los Angeles and just waited for Stanley to get fired, and then he would be able to take over as the head coach right now. Instead, he's over there with fucking Russell Wilson screaming at him on the bench and shit, telling him he's a butt-fuck retard, yelling at him all the time. I don't know. I don't think Sean Payton's happy. I think Sean Payton's probably going to try to move on, and he's probably going to try to take that job in Los Angeles because I think he's done with the fucking Denver Broncos and he's done with Russell Wilson's bitch ass. So we'll see what happens there. But, nonetheless, the Raiders won. I told you guys, they're energized, they're motivated, they're happy again, ever since they fired their head coach, McDaniels, who was also a dumbass. So we'll see what happens with the Raiders moving forward. I think, real quick, before we move on, I think the Chargers are going to lose next weekend against the Buffalo Bills, obviously. You just saw what they did to the fucking bitch-ass Dallas Cowboys. But after that, honestly, I think the Chargers are going to lose every game for the rest of the season because the Chargers have to play the Bills at home. They have to play the Broncos on the road, who are playing for their playoff lives, and then they come home to play the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, come on, Patrick Mahomes, Taylor Swift, Los Angeles. Are you kidding me? The Chargers are done. Backup QB, they're going to lose that game. So Chargers are going to lose the rest of the games for the rest of the year. Meanwhile, you look at the Raiders. I don't know if the Raiders are eliminated or not. I think they probably still have a shot at the postseason. Who knows? But they got to go out there to Kansas City Chiefs next on the road. Maybe they can pull off the upset. Maybe not. I think the Chiefs are probably going to get favored by 7 or more. Then they got to go on the road to play the Colts. Maybe they can win that game too. I don't know. That's 50-50. And then they close out the year at home versus the Denver Broncos, who again are still playing for their playoff lives. That probably is a game that's 50-50. It really just depends. Even if the Raiders don't make the playoffs, they're probably going to still try to beat the Denver Broncos because that's a divisional foe, and they're going to say, fuck you bitches. If we're not going to the postseason, neither is your bitch ass. So, I don't know. Raiders' schedule for the rest of the season kind of looks 50-50 to me, with games against the Colts, the Broncos, and the Chiefs. But with the Chargers, I think that's where the easy money is. I think the Chargers are going to lose all their games for the rest of the year. I think they're going to lose to the Chiefs at the end of the year. I think they're going to lose to the Broncos. I think they're losing to everybody. So I think the Chargers are done. I think Buffalo's going to rape them. So yeah, I would fade the Los Angeles Chargers for the rest of the year. And for the Raiders, that's probably their games are probably going to be 50-50. We'll see. I might take them on the road against the Colts. That would be interesting to me. But other than that, I'm not sure they can beat the Chiefs right now. And I don't know if they're going to beat the Broncos at home. It depends if the Broncos are still in playoff contention. If the Broncos can still make the playoffs, that's going to be tough. I don't know. I think the Broncos will still win that game if they needed to make the playoffs. But if the Broncos are eliminated and they bench Russell Wilson, then I think the Raiders are going to take that game and they're going to try to finish the year strong. Because remember, the Raiders head coach, he still wants to, remain the head coach next season. So in order for him to keep his job and go from interim coach to like the official head coach, he's going to have to win like at least one or two more games to prove to the owner, Mark Davis, that he has what it takes to be an NFL head coach. So the players love him. The locker room loves him. I think the city embraces him. And so I hope he wins another game or two. I hope he wins on the road at the Colts. Again, I don't know if he's going to beat the Chiefs or not, but I think he could beat the Colts, and then maybe he could beat the Denver Broncos. Depending if they, like I said, depends if the Broncos are still in playoff contention or not. But I think he'll win at least one more game because I think the players want him to stay. I think the locker room loves him, the player loves him, and I think the city is starting to embrace him. So I hope the Raiders win at least one or two more games. Chargers, fade them. Justin Herbert's out. I think that team has just given up on defense. I think the team has given up on offense, and I think they're already ready for the offseason because they all booked their flights to Cancun. So with that being said, that's my thoughts right there for the Raiders and the Chargers. All right. Let's move on here. We got, who else we got next up in here? Who was the next bet? We had the Vikings on Saturday, right? On the road. No, we had the Bengals, We had the Bengals at home. I think I took them -3. That was a push. That was a close game. It went all the way to the end. I didn't get to watch it. I was at my son's baseball game, so I didn't really get to see what was going on. But it looks like it was a back and forth game, and the Bengals and Vikings went to overtime. Bengals won by a field goal. So that was a push for me. Moving on, Steelers at Colts. The Steelers at Colts game was probably the biggest letdown for me because I told you guys last week that I was going to take the Steelers on the money line on the road at the Indianapolis Colts. And the reason was because Ben Roethlisberger went on that bitch-ass podcast like all these fucking former athletes do. And he started going on this fucking long-ass rant that went fucking viral about him talking about these Pittsburgh Steelers playing like bitches and they don't understand what it means to don the fucking black and gold, which is true, really. And they're not playing with that Pittsburgh mentality. They're not playing with Steelers pride. They're letting down all the Hall of Famers and the OGs like Troy Polamalu and them boys. And they're not rocking the uniform correctly. And they're playing fucking soft on offense and defense. And when I saw Big Ben Roethlisberger talking all that shit about how they don't have what it takes to be a Steeler and they don't deserve to call themselves a Pittsburgh Steeler, I was like, ooh wee, somebody's about to get their feelings hurt. So I thought the Steelers were going to come out, and I know they got Mitch Trubisky, and he's a dumbass. Kenny Pickett's done for the season, even though I never believed in his ass either. I think he's overrated as fuck. Again, I think the Steelers need to look to draft a new quarterback in the offseason. And I'll remind you guys for the 1 millionth time, this is probably the deepest quarterback draft in the last 10 to 15 years in NFL history. I think there's going to be 6 to 9 quarterbacks that are taken in the first round this year. I'm not saying they're all elite. I'm not saying they're all Hall of Famers. I'm not saying they're all going to be special. I'm not saying they're all fucking, you know what I mean, the next Peyton Manning. What I'm saying is there's probably going to be 6 to 9 quarterbacks taken in the NFL draft this year because a lot of them have a lot of upside, they have a lot of potential, and they have a lot of talent. And I think there's a lot of quarterbacks in the league right now, like Mac Jones and Ryan Tannehill and Mitch Trubisky, bitch ass, and fucking Kirk Cousins, fucking dumbass. I think there's a lot of quarterbacks. Jimmy Garoppolo, you got to be kidding me. I think there's a lot of quarterbacks in the league that are overrated who fucking suck, and I think they're all washed. So, with that being said, again, I'm not saying all 6 to 9 quarterbacks that get drafted in the offseason are going to be the truth. What I'm saying is that they all deserve a shot because right now there's a lot of garbage quarterback play in the NFL, and I think there's a lot of overrated, shitty-ass, dumb-ass, stupid-ass, retarded-ass, bitch-ass quarterbacks who are getting opportunities that they shouldn't be. So I think there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks that, get drafted in the first round this season. Again, not because they should be, but because they have to be, because there's too many garbage ass quarterbacks in the league right now. So might as well give a rookie out of college a shot. So with that being said, I think the Steelers need to draft a new quarterback. I don't think Pickett is the guy, and I think Mitch Trubisky is playing his way out of the league because he continues to look like hot garbage, even in year fucking 10, 12, 15 in the league. Trubisky is not elite. He's not even average. He's not even mediocre. He's not even washed. He's a never been. He fucking sucks. They need to kick his ass out the league. He's fucking garbage. So with that being said, I was extremely let down how the Steelers played on the road, gave up 30, only scored 13 after Roethlisberger torched them and went viral online and telling everyone, telling the world that they don't have that Pittsburgh mentality. They don't have that Steeler pride. They don't have what it takes to don the black and gold, and they're playing like bitches on both sides of the football. Well, guess what? He was right, because once again, they showed their ass on national TV, and they look like fucking bitches to me. Next up, we got the Broncos at the Lions. I took the Broncos on the money line. This was another loss for me. I thought the Broncos were going to come out better than that. They're playing for their playoff lives right now. They need to win as many games as possible. They can still clinch a wild card seed. I think they will. In my opinion, I think the Broncos are going to the playoffs. But man, it was just a tough game. Gave up 42, only scored 17. Now they're 7-7. Let's look at the remainder of their schedule. Next up, they got to play the Patriots. I don't know if they're going to win that game. It's at home. Bill Belichick has notoriously struggled in Denver. The Patriots are playing fucking Zappy. You got to be kidding me. But I don't know. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game because Russell Wilson, he struggles against elite defenses too. And the Patriots, you know, they might not be a good team, but their defense is pretty good. I'm not going to say it's elite, but it's pretty good. So, again, I know the game is in Denver. We'll see. I think Bill Belichick, I think he probably is on his way out the door, even though I don't think he should be. But you know, Sean Payton, you know, maybe he leaves too. Maybe he takes that job in Los Angeles in the offseason. Who knows? But I think the Broncos need to win this game next week. So I'll probably take the Broncos, and then I think they're going to beat the Chargers at home against their backup QB, and then I think it's going to come down to that final game on the road at Vegas against the Raiders. And you know, who knows? I think the Denver Broncos will make the playoffs, but in order for that to be possible, they have to win They have to win out. They have to win all the games left in the regular season, because right now the Denver Broncos are in the 11th seed, and they're fighting with a bunch of teams that are basically 8-6, and the Denver Broncos are basically 7-7. So yeah, they basically have to win out. There's no way around it. Because right now they're trailing Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Houston, Buffalo, Pittsburgh. They're trailing all of these teams, and Indianapolis has a tiebreaker now. So they have to basically win out. They have to win the remainder of the games on their schedule. I think they will. I think they can do it. I think they should do it. They should have won this game in Detroit, but, you know, shit happens. So with that being said, I'm going to continue to bet on the Broncos because I want them to make the playoffs. I think they should make the playoffs. But if they don't, you know, shit happens. Wouldn't surprise me if Sean Payton ends up leaving. But, yeah, I'll probably end up taking them next week against the Patriots because I think Zappy's a fucking buttfuck retard. So, anyways, that's my thoughts on that game. Next up, let's go to the Sunday bracket. So Sunday bracket, Bears at Browns. I took the Browns -3. Again, I didn't get to watch these games because I was at my son's baseball games, watching him hit some dingers, watching him hit some home runs, watching him smack the shit out that fucking baseball. And, you know, I got to record a couple cool videos of him doing that. But, you know, I did see the replays and I did get to see the highlights, the Bears and Browns game. I didn't know that Justin Fields was coming back from the injury. I thought he was still injured. But it doesn't matter. The Browns still ended up winning that game, but they only won by 3. So that was a push for me. By the way, Joe Flacco looking really good right now. Joe Flacco, I'm not saying he's the truth, but I actually like him more than Deshaun Watson's bitch ass. So, you know, Joe Flacco's, you know, he's been doing pretty good. So we'll see if he can keep it up. He's won back-to-back games. He beat the Jags. He beat the Bears. Next up, he's on the road to take on the Texans. That should be interesting. Then he's at home against the Jets. Maybe he plays against Aaron Rodgers. Who knows? That should be interesting. And then he closes out the year on the road against the Cincinnati Bengals. That game will be interesting. So, yeah, Houston, Jets, Bengals. Man, Cleveland, man, this is a tough, you know, final stretch of their schedule. I think they can go through a 3-0, and I think they could also go 0-3. We'll see. Again, they got the fucking, you know, they got the Jets, they got the Bengals. I mean, it's going to be tough on the road at Houston next week. CJ Stroud should be coming back from that injury. I don't know, man. That's a tough game to me. But, either way, I don't think the Browns are going to win the Super Bowl. But I'm happy for Joe Flacco that he finally found the team that actually wants him. Because Deshaun Watson's out here acting like a fucking pussy to me. All right, next up, Buccaneers at Packers. By the way, the Browns game was a push for me because I had them on -3. Bucks at Packers. I took the Bucks on the money line. That was a cash out for me. We got that shit at +200. Not bad, not bad. And I continue to fade the Packers. Everyone wanted to tell me that, oh, Matt LaFleur, he's 15-0 in December. I was like, no. Matt LaFleur with Aaron Rodgers was 15-0 in December. Matt LaFleur without Aaron Rodgers is 1-2 in December. I think people were like, I think they were misinterpreting the stat. Everyone's like, oh, Matt LaFleur, he's that guy. He's a good NFL coach. Fuck no. He just looked like a good NFL coach because he had Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? Like, let's just be honest. So yeah, now he's 1-2 in December without him. Go fucking figure, right? So I took the Bucks. I think the Bucks are going to win this division, but I don't know. I feel like the excuse me. I feel like the Saints are winning a lot of games right now, and it wouldn't surprise me if the Saints, who were my original prediction to win the division, wouldn't surprise me if the Saints end up winning the division. Let me see. What is the standings real quick? Let me check it out real fast. Let me go to conference, NFC. So Bucks are 7-7, and so are the Saints. I think the Bucks have the tiebreaker over the Saints. That's why the Bucks have the division right now. And let's take a look at the Bucks' final 3 games. Let's see what they got to go through. So next up, the Bucks have to play the Jags at home. That one's going to be tough. That one's going to be tough. I don't know about that game. That one's a 50-50. I think the Jags have been on a losing streak, and I don't think Trevor Lawrence is going to keep losing for much longer. I think Trevor Lawrence really needs to win this game, but so do the Bucks. If the Bucks lose this game and the Saints end up winning their game, then the Saints are going to end up winning the division. So Bucks at home really need to keep this winning, streak going. They're 3-0 in their last 3 games. They beat the Panthers, they beat the Falcons, they beat the Packers. Wouldn't surprise me if they beat the Jags, but man, the Jags really desperately need a win. So that game's probably 50-50. Then after that, the Bucks have to play the Saints at home. 2 weeks from now. That one's probably going to decide who's going to end up winning the division. And then last but not least, the Bucks go on the road and they play the Panthers. That game might be a throwaway game, just depending if the Bucks need it to clinch the division or if they're going to be okay without it. Either way, I think a lot of their games are 50-50. That Saints game to me at home is going to be 50-50. I hate fucking Derek Carr, but it wouldn't surprise me if he pulled off the upset. And this game against the Jags, man, that's going to be a tight game right there because the Jags desperately need a win, but the Bucks need to hold off in order to make the playoffs and win the division. So with that being said, we'll see what happens, but that'll probably be the last time I bet the Bucks this season, and we're going to take the +200 that we got them at, and we're going to go ahead and close this thing out. But again, at the end of the season, they have to play Carolina. If they have to play Carolina on the road and they still need to win that game, I'll take the Bucks to win that game because that'll be a must-win for them still. So I might stay away for the Bucks for the next 2 weeks and then bet them to win their final game of the regular season at Carolina against the Panthers, if it's still a must-win or not. So we'll see. All right, next, Texans at Titans. I ended up fading the Texans. I took the Titans -3. We lost this ticket. And the reason I took them was because Will Levis had that amazing game, the upset of the fucking century in Miami. And I thought he was going to come back home and play the Texans without C.J. Stroud, who was gone with an injury. And I thought he was going to rock the building. I thought he was going to rock that shit. I thought he was going to put the world on notice that he's the fucking future QB of the Tennessee Titans. And instead, the Titans played like dog shit. So we lost that game. Good for the Texans. Don't really take that much away from it, other than Derrick Henry looks like he's depressed again, and he might look to leave the Tennessee Titans in the offseason. If Derrick Henry does decide to leave in free agency, I'd be super excited to see where he goes, because I want to see Derrick Henry have the same level of success as McCaffrey when he left to the San Francisco 49ers. So whoever ends up getting Derrick Henry, I think that's going to be able to put that team over the top, because I think he's a top 5 running back in this league. All right, next up, Jets at Dolphins. I took a little bit of money on the Jets money line. Not that much. I was able to get them at +300, and instead the Dolphins blew them out by 300. You got to be kidding me. I'm still not a believer in Tua. I think it's all about Tyreek Hill. I think Tua is overrated. I think he's mediocre. I think he's average. And I think without Tyreek, he looks like a bitch and he looks like he's lost. I am not a fan of Tua. I am not a fan of the Dolphins, but I want to see the Dolphins make the playoffs because in the first round of the playoffs, I want to see the Dolphins either have to play the Kansas City Chiefs or I want to see the Dolphins get a rematch against the Denver Broncos. In either situation, I am going to fade the Miami Dolphins, and I am going to bet that they lose to the Denver Broncos or that they lose to the Kansas City Chiefs. But with that being said, I do want to see them make the playoffs because I want to fade Tua in the playoffs because fuck that bitch. I'm not a fan, and I want to see him go down. But with that being said, let's look at the remainder of their schedule real quick. The last 3 games for the Miami Dolphins is the Dallas Cowboys, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Buffalo Bills. I think they're going to lose against the Dallas Cowboys, but I think they're going to beat the Baltimore Ravens, and then I think they're going to lose to the Buffalo Bills. I think the Buffalo Bills are going to beat them no matter what, and I think they're going to beat I think the Bills are going to beat them no matter what. But man, these next 2 games are going to be interesting. Dallas and at Baltimore. Honestly, I think the Cowboys should be able to win. I'm going to bet the Cowboys again next week. And then after that Baltimore game is going to be interesting. I actually think they can beat the Baltimore Ravens. And you want to know why? Because I think the 49ers are going to expose the Baltimore Ravens next weekend. They're probably going to be my biggest bet of the week. I'll release my plays for next week probably sometime tomorrow. But my biggest bet next week is going to be the 49ers to absolutely destroy the Baltimore Ravens. And when the 49ers destroy the Baltimore Ravens, I think they're going to expose them. And I think that's going to show McDaniels what he needs to do to beat the Baltimore Ravens. So even though I think the Miami Dolphins will lose to the Dallas Cowboys, I think they're going to beat the Baltimore Ravens. And then I think they'll lose to the Buffalo Bills anyways. So that's my thoughts on that. All right, next up, what else we got? Kansas City Chiefs at Patriots. I took the Patriots on the money line. Again, it was too juicy for me. They ended up losing. The Chiefs, they look okay. They didn't look great. They looked okay. And the Patriots continue to lose. I think the Patriots are going to lose next week at the Broncos. It's just too much losing. I think at this point they should just accept they're going to get the number 2 overall pick. And in terms of Kansas City, I think they're probably going to beat the Raiders at home, even though that game could be 50-50. It might be a stay-away game for me, honestly. But yeah, they're going to play the Raiders. Then after that, they got to play the Bengals. And then after that, they're on the road to play the Chargers in LA. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if the Kansas City Chiefs win the last 3 games of the regular season. Wouldn't surprise me because it is Patrick Mahomesy. All right, next up. Giants at Saints. I took the Giants on the money line as well. Fuck the Saints. Let's see. I think the Giants, even though they're no longer playing for playoff contention, I think that DeVito kid has a lot of energy right now, and I feel like the team is galvanized around him. But unfortunately, I think they're going to lose the last 3 games of the regular season. I think they're going to lose at the Eagles. I think they're going to lose against the Rams, and I think they're going to lose against the Eagles again. So I have them going 0-3 for the rest of the year. I think they're pretty much done from here. But I like that DeVito kid. I hope he gets an opportunity next year. Next up, the Saints. They got to play the Rams. I think the Rams are going to beat them. But then I think those last 2 games are going to determine everything. Because then after that, they got to play the Buccaneers, and then they got to play the Falcons. We'll see. Again, the Saints were my original pick to win the division, but I ended up jumping off ship and I ended up jumping towards the Bucs. I might jump off ship and jump back towards the Saints again. I think the Saints roster is amazing. I want the Saints to make the playoffs because I want to fade Derek Carr in the playoffs. Fuck that bitch. Him and Tua, can't stand them. All right, next up, Falcons at Panthers. I thought the Falcons were going to win this game. I've been betting the Panthers to win, their second game of the year all year long. And finally, the one time I fucking fade them, they fucking cash a ticket. Just wasn't mine. So I was very frustrated and stressed about this one because I've been waiting for the Panthers to win a fucking game all season. And they've just been losing nonstop. And the one time I fade them is the one time they fuck me. You got to be kidding me. So But again, I should have known better because I hate the Falcons. I can't stand the Falcons. Fuck the Falcons. And look, the one time I bet on them, they fucking screw me. So fuck both these teams. Next up, Commanders at Rams. I ended up taking the Rams on the teaser with the 49ers. I took 49ers -5, and I took the Rams even money, and the Rams ended up winning. I think the Rams are going to make the playoffs, and I think the Rams are going to win the last 3 games of the regular season. Let me see. Who do they play next? They play the Saints at home. I think they're going to win. They play the Giants on the road. I think they're going to win. And then they're going to play the 49ers on the road to finish the year. And I do not think they're going to beat the 49ers on the road. I think well, it depends. If the 49ers already clinched the #1 seed and the 49ers end up playing with the backup QB, it wouldn't surprise me if the Rams win. So the Rams could actually beat the 49ers on the road. If the 49ers clinch the #1 seed and they have nothing to play for, I would not risk McCaffrey or Debo. I would basically sit everybody, because if the 49ers clinch the #1 seed in the NFC and they don't have to win that last game of the regular season, I would sit everybody, because I'm not risking anybody, due to injury. You got a Super Bowl to go fucking win. So I would sit McCaffrey. I would sit Brock Purdy. I would sit everybody. And if they end up doing that, if they lock up the #1 seed, then I think the Rams are going to win that game in San Francisco against backups, across the board, which hopefully San Francisco does end up clinching that #1 seed. So honestly, the Rams could end up winning out. The Rams could beat the Saints. I think they do beat the Giants, and they could win in San Francisco if San Francisco basically sits everybody. So with that being said, I think Rams are going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to go 10-7, and I think they're going to sweep the board. All right. By the way, Commanders, they suck. I think Ron Rivera is going to get fired, and they're going to give the head coaching job to Bieniemy, because I think they want him to be the head coach anyways. And Bieniemy is going to see how hard it is to be an NFL head coach, and he's probably going to suck balls at it. That's just my opinion. But Washington, for the rest of the year, what? They got to play the Jets. Maybe they win, maybe they don't. That's probably a stay-away game for me. Then after that, they got to play the 49ers at home. I think the 49ers are going to absolutely demolish them. That's probably going to be, I don't know what the spread is on that game, but in 2 weeks, it'll be 49ers on the road in Washington, -14, whatever. And then the Commanders have to play the Cowboys at the end of the year. Maybe they beat the Cowboys if the Cowboys don't need that game, but we'll see. But they probably go 0-3. So I think the Rams go 3-0 from here, and I think the Commanders go 0-3 from here. Next up, 49ers at Cardinals. This was my biggest play of the week. I told you guys 49ers -5 on a 7-point teaser with over 41. I told you guys 49ers might put up 41 by themselves. Guess what? They did. They fucking dropped 45. So I cashed out that teaser. I also had a second teaser. Excuse me. I took 49ers -5 and Rams even money. Boom, cashed out that teaser. And then last but not least, I had 49ers -5 with the Ravens and Jags game going over 35. That ticket did not cash. So I went 2-3 with my 49ers teasers. Not bad, but I wish I made more money. So good job for the 49ers. By the way, 49ers rest of the year, they're probably going to be my biggest bet next week. I'm going to take them to beat the San Francisco 49ers. Then I think they're going to beat Washington on the road after that. And then they're going to play back at home again one last time against the Rams, which they might lose that game if they end up sitting everybody. All right, second to last, we have the Cowboys at Bills. I ended up taking the Cowboys on the road. I'm not really a believer in the Bills. I told you guys I'm going to fade them all year long. The Buffalo Bills ended up winning. Cowboys ended up losing. Let's take a look at their schedules. I have the Buffalo Bills. Who do they play next? They're going on the road against the Chargers. The spread is -14. They're probably going to win that game. Then they got to play the Patriots at home. They're probably going to win that game. And then they got to play the Miami Dolphins on the road. They're going to win that game. I think the Bills are going 3-0 for the rest of the year. Next up, Dallas Cowboys. Let's take a look at their schedule. Dallas Cowboys, let's see, who do they play? They play Miami next. I think they win that game. They play Detroit after that. I think they win that game. And then they play Washington on the road. They might win that game if they still need it. All right. And then last but not least, we have the Baltimore Ravens at Jags. I think the Ravens are going to basically start a losing streak. I think the Ravens are going to lose to the San Francisco 49ers. That's probably going to be my biggest bet of the week. And then after that, I think they're going to lose to the Miami Dolphins. And then after that, they're going to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. So the Ravens are still going to win the division. They're still going to make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to have the number 1 seed because I think they're going to lose to Miami and I think they're going to lose to the 49ers as my biggest bet of the week. Next up, the Jags look like hot fucking garbage to me. You got to be kidding me. But fortunately for them, their schedule gets easier. They got to go on the road to play the Bucks. They should win that game. We'll see. If not, they got to play Carolina. They'll probably beat Carolina, and then they'll probably beat the Tennessee Titans on the road, maybe. The Jags, to me, wouldn't surprise me if they miss the playoffs and the Houston Texans end up making the playoffs. I think the Texans are going to make the playoffs, in my opinion. I don't know if they're going to win the division, but I think the Texans are going to make the playoffs. Next up, but last but not least, we have... Who's the last game of the week? Oh, tonight, we have Philly on the road taking on the Seattle Seahawks. I like the Seattle Seahawks in this situation. The Eagles are down. Jalen Hurts is dealing with an illness just like I did. Half the secondary is missing. I think there's a lot of fucked up shit going on with the Eagles. 2-game losing streak. Got their ass whooped by the 49ers. Got their ass whooped by the Dallas Cowboys. And now they're playing the Seahawks, who also got their ass whooped by the 49ers and also got their ass whooped by the 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys. Tough game. I think I'm going to ride with Seahawks on the money line. And I think the Seahawks are going to win this game, but I think the Eagles need it more because if they win this game, they're going to win the division again, and they'll be in the lead for the division since the Cowboys fucked that up. But for some reason, Geno Smith took off last week, and Drew Lock ended up starting against the San Francisco 49ers. He got his shit rocked, but now Geno Smith is back and saying he feels healthy, he feels better. Oh my gosh, OMG, he feels amazing, he feels fantastic, and fuck this fucking pussy. Geno Smith, though, I think he's probably going to pull off this game. I am riding with I'm riding with the Seahawks, plus 150, plus 200 on the money. Eagles, to me, just dealing with too many injuries, and I feel like they're dealing with too many sick players right now. So I'm going to take the Seahawks tonight. Fuck it money, fuck it bet, fuck it play, fuck it mentality. And I am getting ready for next week of football, and I'm telling you guys right now, I'm probably going to lay out my biggest bet of the week. And I'm gonna give you guys right now, if you guys been listening to me this long, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. My biggest bet of the week right now is San Francisco 49ers next week on the money line, minus 200 versus the Baltimore Ravens. And I think the San Francisco 49ers are going to blow them the fuck out. I think they're going to destroy them. I think they're going to kill them. I think they're going to murder them. I think it's going to be a bloodbath. I think it's going to be annihilation. I think it's going to be an absolute motherfucking beatdown. Ladies and gentlemen, max bet San Francisco money line next week, Monday Night Football against the Baltimore Ravens. I think Lamar Jackson's going to get exposed. I think he's going to get his ass beat. I think he's going to get his ass whooped. And I think he's going to get absolutely destroyed. Ladies and gentlemen, max bet guaranteed, all in. Bank the bankroll, bet the mortgage, and put everything you got on that motherfucker. Give me the San Francisco 49ers money line against the bitch-ass Baltimore Ravens. That is my absolute guaranteed. Bet everything you got. Unload the cannons. Throw in the grenades and launch the fucking nukes in the bazooka. Throw in everything. Bet of the motherfucking week. San Francisco 49ers against the bitch-ass Baltimore Ravens. Give me the 49ers minus 200 on the money. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is the recap of Week 16 of the NFL season. Those are all my bets. Those are all my plays. That's my mentality. That's my philosophy. And that is a quick recap of everything that went down. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. Tomorrow I'm going to drop my NFL plays of the week, and including my best bets of the week, my favorite bets of the week, all of my tickets, all of my teasers, all of my parlays, and all of my straight up bets. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for subscribing. And thank you guys for rolling and riding with the one, the only, the motherfucking general on the Sports Betting Mexican Podcast. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Make sure you guys are updated. Make sure you guys stay tuned. And make sure you guys click the notification button. Until next time, everyone. See you guys then. Be ready. Stay ready. Be strapped. Stay strapped. And get ready to pull the motherfucking triggers. And let's finish this year out strong. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time.